Hey guys, welcome to the video. Before we get started today, I'd like to apologize for the quality of the gameplay. I'm still new to everything and trying to get it worked out. If anyone has suggestions for how to improve my Twitch recording, let me know down below in the comments. Everyone make sure to like and subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss out on my daily short-form videos. Hope you enjoy the video.
Am I the asshole for not checking up on a friend that lives far from me? I'm 29 male, and my friend Mary fake name is 25 female. We met during my senior year of college, through a small group of 4 friends and became really close. After one of our friends graduated early, Mary and I bonded a lot more during the last 6 months of school. We'd hang out after class, eat together, and text constantly. There was never anything romantic between us, just a close platonic friendship. After graduation I relocated back home, about 80 miles away. Around the same time, everything got difficult for me. I was job hunting, commuting a lot, dealing with a serious relationship, and eventually went through a bad breakup that left me depressed and emotionally drained. Mary was someone I leaned on during that time, and she helped me through a lot emotionally. The issue was that I wasn't very present physically. She wanted to hang out more, but between the distance, work, exhaustion, and depression, I often cancelled plans, or didn't make the drive out to see her. Looking back, I know I could have put more effort into the friendship. At the same time, I thought she understood that life after college gets messy, and I was genuinely struggling. We also talked a lot about dating. I usually gave her honest advice about the guys she dated, because I cared about her, but later I realized she didn't always appreciate how blunt I could be. Eventually we drifted apart, and went about 6 months barely talking. During that time she only reached out once to ask me to review her resume. A couple months later, I texted her to check in, but she responded very coldly. When I asked what was wrong, she told me she deleted the numbers of people she doesn't talk to anymore. I was shocked to find out she had deleted my number. She then told me she had found a new group of friends who gave her quote more attention unquote. I apologized for not being around enough, but explained that I had a lot going on personally and tried my best at the time. She also brought up a joke I made years earlier in front of one of her friends that had made her uncomfortable. The thing is, we had already discussed it before, and she told me it was water under the bridge, but apparently she still held resentment over it and said it contributed to why she viewed me as a bad friend. I understand why she may have felt neglected, but I never intentionally hurt her or stopped caring about the friendship. I'm wondering if I was really a bad friend, or if this was simply two people growing apart.
Am I the asshole for wanting to go on trips without my girlfriend? Me 26 male and my girlfriend 23 female have been dating 6 months. There was recently a camping trip planned among our mutual mixed gender friend group. She was invited but decided she didn't want to go because it was one of her only free weekends. I mentioned that I still would want to go, and it sparked a disagreement on perspectives because she didn't think I should go because there would be other single girls on the trip. I've always had mixed gender friend groups throughout my life and very comfortable around girls and feel like I can set boundaries. She's been cheated on in the past and has trust issues. She has a problem with me going on overnight trips where there will be other single girls involved without her. She says it's disrespectful and could be tempting and lead to something. I'd be okay with her going if roles were reversed. I guess my views are along the line of if I can't trust my partner to not cheat while they're away, I don't really want to be with them. It bums me out that I would have to skip it, and I just don't want resentment to build. Am I the a-hole for prioritizing my friends over my girlfriend?
My neighbor complained about my cooking smell in Arabic. She didn't know I grew up speaking it at home.
I live in an apartment building with thin walls. I cook a lot of Middle Eastern food because that's what I grew up eating. Spices, garlic, slow-cooked meats. The smell carries.
My next-door neighbor is an older woman. She's always been polite to my face but a little distant. One afternoon I was making kapsa. The whole hallway smelled like cardamom and cinnamon. I went out to check my mail and heard her on the phone in Arabic standing right outside her door. She was clearly annoyed. She said, "The girl next door is cooking again. My whole apartment smells like a spice market. I can't get rid of it." She kept going. Why can't she just cook normal food like everyone else? It's suffocating. I waited for her to finish her sentence, then said in Arabic, "I'm sorry the smell bothers you. I'll open my windows next time." She froze. Her face went red. She started stammering. I wasn't talking about you." I just smiled and said, "It's okay. I know the smell is strong. Just tell me next time instead of talking behind my back." She hasn't complained since. And last week, she knocked on my door with a plate of cookies and said, "I'm sorry. We're not best friends now or anything crazy." But she doesn't talk about my cooking anymore.
Am I the asshole for telling my pregnant sister she's about to marry the same kind of man she spent years warning me about? So my sister is 31 and pregnant, and half my family now thinks I'm an asshole because I finally snapped at her fiancé. He's one of those fake calm guys who says rude shit with a smile, so if you react you look crazy. At Thanksgiving he asked if I was still doing my little photography thing even though it's my full-time job. Another time he made some joke about women panic marrying after 30. My sister laughed both times even though growing up she used to cry to me about our dad acting exactly like that toward our mom. This weekend they had a backyard dinner for the baby's gender reveal. Everything was mostly fine until her fiancé started talking about how now that they're having a son he can keep him away from emotional women. Then he pointed at me and said that's why your aunt is single with 3 cats. I only have 1 cat by the way. My sister laughed again and something in me snapped. I said yeah well at least I'm not marrying someone who talks exactly like dad. Whole table went dead silent. Her fiancé instantly started acting offended saying I was disrespectful in his home. My mom started crying. My sister looked furious and later texted me saying I ruined her night because I'm bitter and alone and jealous of her relationship. My brother secretly agrees with me but says I should have kept my mouth shut for the sake of the party. Maybe I should have, but watching her laugh while her fiancé kept taking little digs at people made me feel sick because it reminded me so much of our mom pretending our dad's comments were funny just to keep the peace. I don't really feel like I'm the asshole and that it needed to be said.
Am I the asshole for trying to restrict my boyfriend? My boyfriend, 19 male, and I, 18 female, have been together for just under a year. We are very comfortable with each other, so we talk about our fantasies, preferences, etc. The relationship has been going great, despite being long distance. However, I feel very uncomfortable with him watching adult content. It just makes me feel weird that he looks at other women in that way, I guess. We've talked about it before, and I told him that I don't want him watching it at all. But he continues to watch it, saying that it's natural for him to need release or whatever. I've already tried talking to him about it, but he still watches it, and I'm scared that it will negatively impact our intimacy, because we're both young adults, and we both haven't had our first time. I feel awful knowing that he needs to see other women in order to feel satisfied, but talking to him didn't help in the past. I don't want to be controlling or make him feel bad. Am I overreacting?
My son's teacher doesn't know what I do for work. My son's school does these follow-up meetings with parents, and the last one was on Friday. Our son's teacher was telling my wife and I how he's a nice kid, always listens to his teacher, never causes problems, etc. She noted that he tends to embellish his stories, but she said it was normal at his age, so it's not something to worry about. Amused, my wife asked for examples, mostly to have something to laugh about and tell her friends when they talk about their kids. And the teacher said that he's been telling everybody that his father can speak Chinese and Russian, and then gave a short laugh. My wife and I also laughed, thanked her, and left. We're now thinking what could be the funniest way to let the teacher know that I am fluent in Chinese. I'm actually a Chinese-Spanish interpreter and translator, and speak some Russian, and that my kid was actually telling the truth. Any suggestions?
Am I the asshole for waking up the whole family downstairs at 2 a.m. because they thought they could park and block my driveway overnight? I live in New York City. I rent the upstairs half of a duplex. I'm chill and don't mind my flatmates throwing parties or having people over as long as they respect the property and keep the noise down at night. A couple of months ago, one of their friends blocked the driveway around p.m. I asked them nicely to move it and not do it again, but they clearly didn't care. Fast forward to a few days ago, I get up at a.m. and see his car completely blocking my driveway again, even going over a bit onto the neighbor's side. I stood outside for 5 minutes debating whether to have him ticketed and towed or just press the doorbell over and wake up the whole house. I chose option 2 because they do have a kid who they take to school the next day. The mom answered and I told her the car was blocking me and I needed to leave. It took the dad 5 minutes to come out and he was visibly pissed. He looked at me and asked if I really needed to wake everyone up for that. I told him that he's blocking me in and I needed to leave, and if he did it again, I'll have him towed. He said I'll pay for it if I do, and I told him to fucking watch me. He kept cursing at me, so I cursed back and mocked him saying, "That's why you're listening and moving your car, right? Yeah, keep it moving, buddy." This guy is easily 40 plus and I'm in college. He moved his car and went back inside to watch the security cams. I know he was pissed when he looked at the driveway and my car was still there. You might say it's rude to wake them even though I didn't need to leave, but I think it's the principle of the matter. What do you think?
Am I the asshole for not bringing my kids to see my ex-wife during my time with them? My ex-wife, Lisa, 41 female, and I, 43 male, divorced last summer. We share custody of 2 kids, 10 and 7. I get them 2 weekends a month with extra time during summer and holidays. I have been working very hard to change our custody agreement in order to get more time with the kids. The main hurdle being that I live too far from their school, so I'm looking to move closer in time. This past weekend I had the kids, so I took them to visit my parents since they live on a lake. We spent Saturday on the boat fishing and tubing and having a blast. When we got back at the house, Lisa sent me a text asking if we could talk, so I gave her a call. She told me she was having a rough day and was feeling very emotional. She asked if she could talk to the kids for a bit, so I agreed. After a few minutes, the kids gave me my phone back because Lisa wanted to talk more. She asked if I'd be willing to bring the kids back for the rest of the weekend, because she missed them and wanted to be around them. I told her no because this is my time with them. I asked her what was going on because she usually doesn't contact me when I have the kids except to arrange drop-offs. She waited a bit but eventually said that she had a date, but he ghosted her and she's feeling really emotional about it. She said that she already asked the kids and they said they were fine. I told her that that is manipulative and that I am not going to sacrifice my time with the kids just because she got ghosted. I told her that she has the kids much more than I do and I am going to keep them every second that my custody allows. She said I'm a jerk and if the kids want to go back to her then I should let them. I told her that the kids don't get to make that decision and I will be keeping them until our agreed upon drop off on Monday and hung up. She sent a few texts later that night and Sunday calling me an asshole, but I didn't respond. I figured the texts might be handy when trying to change the custody agreement. The kids and I spent more time on the lake Sunday and I brought them back on Monday. Lisa made a comment about how much she missed them and how she wished she could have seen them sooner. I understand feeling emotional, but that is not my fault and the way she went about it felt underhanded and manipulative. What do you all think? Am I the asshole for not going on my girlfriend's birthday trip? I've been dating my girlfriend for a little under 2 years now and her birthday is in a couple weeks. She's turning 30 and she's very excited about it. We both work at an airport so we get free flight benefits. My girlfriend decided she wanted to go to Hawaii for her birthday because she's never been. She made a group chat and invited all her aviation friends and their spouses who also get free flights. She invited around 8 people, including myself, and every person said yes to the invite, and so she got a huge Airbnb with enough space for everyone. The problem is the day she booked it is during my niece's birthday bash. My girlfriend's birthday coincides with my niece's. And last year I wasn't able to celebrate my girlfriend's birthday because I went to my niece's. For context, we are in a long-distance relationship, so I have to drive or fly to see my girlfriend. I was in my hometown, and since my niece was turning 4 and going into her first year of school, I wanted to celebrate that with my family. My niece's birthday party is on June 9th. My girlfriend's is the 10th. The trip is from June 8th to June 12th. The thing is, I can't do both. I would if I could, but if I left June 10th, I would spend all day flying to Hawaii and only be there for 1 day. I'd be so jet-lagged that it doesn't really make sense for me to do that. I also want to help my parents with my niece's party and I'm in charge of getting the cake. Some decor, etc. My girlfriend seemed upset when I told her this and said something along the lines of, "Look, it sucks because you missed my birthday last year, but I understood. This year isn't just a birthday trip, it's a couple's trip too, and I thought it would be nice for us to travel together. I know your niece's birthday crosses with mine, but these were the only dates all my friends could get off from work. Is there any way you and I can celebrate your niece's birthday a different day with her? We can take her out somewhere fun?" I told her, well, that was a sweet gesture, I don't feel comfortable doing that. I'm super close with my niece, I've babysat her almost every weekend and I spend so much time with her. I know it'll break her heart if she knows I missed her party. She's been asking me if I'm coming to it almost every time I see her. My girlfriend then went into a spiel that I prioritize my family over her and that I've done this on several occasions. She said she's starting to worry about a future with me. That really offended me because she knows how much I love my family and I don't think there's anything wrong with making family a priority, especially since my girlfriend and I aren't even married. I told my girlfriend I will make it up to her when she comes back. Am I the asshole for going to my niece's party instead of my girlfriend's?
I was told to resign today. Today was the last week of school, so the middle school students I teach had half days. The last 10 minutes of class, I told students to start cleaning up because I wasn't sure when they would call them to go on buses. As students were cleaning up, I had 3 students goof off and go in the closet. I told them 3 times to get out of there, but during this time, an admin came in and saw students come out of the closet. In my head, these students came out of the closet when admin walked in, but it wasn't until a couple minutes later after admin started talking that they came out. I was then called into the office and was told to resign because having students in the closet was a safety issue. I tried to explain that I told them more than once to stop, but it didn't matter as they shouldn't have been in the closet. I never have classroom management issues, and the admin has not talked to me at all about my classroom management or how I run my classroom, and I've always gotten good reviews on observations. Now I'm out of a job. Is this fair in any way?
Am I overreacting for refusing to back down from insisting my fiancé is wrong for leaving my dad with the bill? My fiancé invited my parents, his parents, and me to a very fancy dinner, $40 for the cheapest item, to celebrate our engagement. He picked out the place, but he only told me the location 3 hours prior to going, no further details. He likes surprises, so Elle was fine letting him have this. We had a lovely time during dinner and we excused ourselves early due to him working in the morning. I asked him if his parents were going to take the bill, to which he said they're adults, they'll figure it out. This didn't sit right with me, but we were already gone and I really thought his parents would cover it. When I saw my parents later, they were acting subdued and I figured something went wrong. When I called my dad the next day, he told me an uncomfortably long amount of time had passed and no one had touched the bill, which had arrived before we had left. He and my mom eventually ended up splitting the bill, which was a total of over $600. My parents stated they were bewildered and disappointed and asked that I pass that along. I told him that my parents brought up something to my attention and that we needed to talk. He ignored my text. I sent a passive-aggressive text, and he responded with an angry call, telling me he was at work, and that this was an inappropriate time to bring it up, hanging up on me. I didn't like that, so I called again and received a similar response. We didn't talk until he got off work, and when I mentioned talking about the dinner again and he got very mad. The next day, I got radio silence. He always sends a good morning text, even when he's mad, but nothing. I called him on my way to work, and it went to voicemail. I tried again so I could leave a voicemail, and he picked up, sounding very annoyed. I tried to offer an olive branch, stating we could talk about it, but I wanted to wait until we could see each other in person. He said that he was too busy. I was putting too much stress on him and hung up. I was tired of trying to mediate the situation and did not text him. When he got home from work, he called me. He went into how I was making this too big of a deal. I asked who he expected to pay for dinner, and he told me that he expected my dad to cover the bill. He said because I knew that he had planned something and that he had taken the initiative to make the reservations that he did not have to pay, as it was not a surprise to my family. I tried to tell him that some surprises are nice, like getting invited to a nice dinner, and some are not, like having to pay for said dinner. He hung up, and he not responded since. So am I overreacting?
Am I the asshole for wanting to show up to my daughter's secret proposal while uninvited by her fiancé? My daughter and her boyfriend have been in a relationship for 2.5 years, and her boyfriend asked me for his blessing last week to marry my daughter. He recently called me on the phone and indirectly asked me if I could please not show up to their proposal. I am conflicted on deciding whether or not to show up to their proposal. I am a single mother to her as her father died when she was 2 years old. So I have been a widow parent to her for 21 years and a parent in general to her for 23 years. I feel that being a single parent holds more of an impact when it comes to my presence at her proposal, because if I don't show up, no parent of hers will. I can't discuss this decision with my daughter yet because it would spoil the surprise of her engagement. I know that she would want me to be there for her proposal, but I know it's her fiance's proposal as well, and I don't want to disrespect his wishes. I don't know if it would be wrong of me to show up for my daughter's proposal even though I'm technically uninvited. I feel that I should show up for my daughter because I am an important person to her, and this is a once in a lifetime kind of event, but I don't know if it's a selfish decision of me to show up uninvited.
Am I the asshole for asking my postpartum wife and 5-month-old daughter to travel over Christmas? My wife is pregnant with our first child, and she's due in the beginning of August. We live in the same state as her family, but my family is international, 5 hours flight plus 2 hours drive. Before we got married, we always spoke about traveling to visit my family, and how frequently we would do so. The plan was always to spend Thanksgiving with her family and Christmas with my family. My parents have not been very accepting of my wife and are very upset that I settled in another country. My sister, who lives 10 minutes from my parents, is expecting a baby in November, and I would very much like us to make the trip over Christmas and see my family and new niece and have my grandparents and cousins meet my new baby. My wife refuses since she doesn't feel comfortable flying with our baby before she's 1 year old and doesn't want to be around my parents while she's 5 months postpartum. I understand her concerns, but I'm sad because opportunities for my family to all be together are rare, and I feel like our original expectations around holidays and family visits have changed significantly. So, am I the asshole for pushing her to fly over Christmas?
My husband's best friend admitted he had feelings for me. As the title suggests, my husband's closest friend of nearly 20 years decided to take a wild gamble and reveal that he has feelings for me and maybe always had. He is also currently married. For at least 2 to 3 months leading up to his confession, I noticed that his energy around me had changed and my internal alarm bells were ringing every time he would chat me up in my DMs. However, I was deeply in denial as our conversations were always exclusively friendly in nature and he never hit on me, nor vice versa. I also never expected that he would act on his feelings if he truly had some kind of crush. I guess I was wrong. Basically, he turned on vanishing messages on Instagram and told me that he saw a future for us. He implied that he wanted to run off together, saying, "I want to get out of our city." Again, I never gave this guy reason to believe I would reciprocate his feelings, and he never tested the waters. I responded asking, "What is wrong with you? Are you delusional? I'm married to your best friend, we have children. How are you expecting this to play out? Both him and his wife are like family to us. He was the best man at our wedding. We are all heartbroken by the betrayal, and honestly I feel dehumanized by the entire experience. His wife is convinced that this is the result of mental illness, as it runs in the family, and wants to give him a chance to seek therapy and get his shit together. I personally think she is wasting her time, as apparently he teeters between genuine remorse and frustration that he has not been forgiven by us yet. As it stands, myself and the rest of our friend group have essentially cut him off, though it almost feels like he died. My husband already had difficulty making friends, and this loss has him both sad and incredibly lonely. I feel helpless and wish I could give him better comfort. Any good advice?
Am I the asshole for not opening the door? I work at a small, private doctor's office. It's just me and one doctor there. When sitting at my desk, I have a clear view of the door, but not the bench directly next to it. I oftentimes have patients arrive before their 9 a.m. appointment and will take a seat out of eyesight because we do not open until 9 a.m. I had someone arrive early, sit down, and ended up being 15 minutes late to their appointment because they didn't realize we had opened. Is it my responsibility to open the door, tell them come in at 9 if they are there early? Or as the patient waiting, should they be responsible for attending their appointment on time? It's not always safe to assume the person sitting there is waiting on us, as it's the only bench in the lobby. This occurrence has happened a few times now, and I'm beginning to wonder, am I the asshole?
Am I overreacting for thinking of ending a friendship over his drunken sexual text to me? I've been friends with this man since our time as graduate students at a great university. I admired how easy it was for him to get through the grind and how intelligent he was. He was eager to help and teach, and after we graduated, we stayed in touch over the years. After an awkward hookup that didn't go well 3 years ago, I told him directly that I just want to remain friends. He said okay, and for the most part, our friendship held up well these past couple of years, until a few nights ago. I woke up in the middle of the night and checked my phone, and I noticed someone texted me at 11 p.m. It read in caps, very vulgar and disturbing sexual acts that he wanted me to perform on him. I thought this was spam at first because it sounded like it came from a bot, but sadly, I saw that it came from my friend. I was completely offended and uncomfortable, and I didn't respond, obviously, and I just decided to go back to sleep. I woke up and got ready for work, and I saw that he texted me again at 4:30 a.m. saying, "Oh, sorry, I was drunk, please forgive me." I didn't reply back. Finally, yesterday, I replied and texted him that the text made me feel very uncomfortable and we can talk later. He suddenly started texting me repeatedly this morning at 4 a.m. saying, "Yes, we will talk. I will call you later today. Take care." I started thinking about it more today, and the more I think about it, the more I think I'm just going to end our friendship. The reason being that when I first agreed to go on a date with him 3 years ago, he started texting me all these vulgar things he wanted me to do to him, and I never felt comfortable with it. Then he would make an excuse like, "Well, I'm Latino, and this is what we do. We are very sexual people." I didn't like that excuse at all, and it seemed like a weird thing to say. I told him directly I won't tolerate him sending me those kinds of texts, and he stopped for a long time. I probably shouldn't have remained friends with him, but we are both former colleagues in the same career profession, and he has a heads up and experience in the field more than I do, and has more knowledge to share. Unfortunately, him being a creep like this overshadows his wonderful teaching and knowledge in our field of work and academics. I'm afraid I'm going to have to end our friendship now. It's just one too many sexual harassments for me to endure, and I don't deserve any of that. Hopefully, I'm not overreacting.
Terrified that my husband will leave me next week after the vacation I paid for. My husband fully paid for our vacation last month, so in return, next week we have a vacation lined up that I am paying for. Last week we had an argument that reached a boiling point. I had been asking him for months to stop grabbing my butt and honking my boobs. We had a heart-to-heart about it, and I thought it was resolved. The very next day, he honked me again and made a joke about smacking my butt again. I was particularly stressed out and ended up sleeping in another room for 3 days. Since then, we have talked, and I explained to him that I get anxiety and have trauma from prior abuse, and what he does affects me in a serious way. I am on edge around the house because I feel like my boundaries will be violated at any time. He seemed more interested in talking about how he was stressed during the time I was taking space and staying in the guest room. He thinks it's just a joke and doesn't get that it's more than that to me. It's my body and it does not feel good. Anyway, I get the feeling that he does not understand or care. I feel that he is just faking being okay until he gets his free vacation, and after which I will be dumped. I don't know. He doesn't do our usual rituals anymore. He's being sarcastic with me. He's really looking forward to the trip, though. I feel like if he didn't have a free vacation coming up in a week, he would have already been packing to leave me. I still plan to go, but I'm bracing myself for the worst.
How to deal with a terrible neighbor who won't stop. I'm a single guy in my early 30s, and I moved into a new house about a month ago. One of my neighbors is a single mom around my age, and from the very beginning, she's been way too intrusive. At first, I tried to be polite because I had literally just moved in, but she kept trying to force conversations every time I got home, asking personal questions, trying to figure out my schedule, and acting overly familiar even though I barely know her. I started keeping things short and distant because I really don't want a friendship or any kind of relationship with her. The issue is she does not seem to understand boundaries at all. Yesterday, after an exhausting day at work, I came home and found her standing near my driveway waiting for me. I tried to just ignore it and go inside my house because I genuinely did not want to interact, but she stayed outside for several more minutes afterward instead of leaving. I was extremely confused what she was doing. I have already told her multiple times before that I'm a private person and don't really want anything to do with her after she started acting weirdly with me. So at this point, it feels more like harassment. I'm honestly getting close to calling the police if she keeps showing up around my house waiting for me because I don't know how else to make it clear that I want to be left alone. Any better suggestions?
Like and subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss out on my daily short form videos.